There was a time when Elias believed everything he had been taught about attraction. That women chose men for their money, their looks, their success. It was easy to believe. After all, it gave him a metric, something to chase, clear markers of worth he could measure, compare, and improve. So he focused on those things. He worked overtime, climbed the career ladder, hit the gym religiously, and transformed his wardrobe into a sleek, curated reflection of success. And for a while, it felt like it was working. People noticed, women noticed, until it didn't. Until he met Ava. She was radiant, not just beautiful, but deeply aware. Her presence felt like gravity. She wasn't interested in flash or status. She was tuned to something more subtle. She laughed at Elias's jokes, initiated conversations, looked him in the eyes in a way that made time feel slow. Elias thought he had finally cracked the code. With her, things flowed. No games, no second-guessing, until everything changed. It started small, a delayed reply here, a missed call there. Her warmth dimmed, her attention waned. Eventually, the silence wasn't just in the texts, it was in her presence. Distant eyes, empty smiles, then nothing. No argument, no dramatic ending, just absence. A connection that had felt like home was now a void. Elias replayed everything, every moment, every message, every word. Had he said something wrong? Was there someone else? Had he failed some invisible test? This isn't a story about heartbreak. It's about awakening. Because what Elias didn't know, and what most men are never taught, is that attraction is not built on logic. Women don't choose with their minds. They choose with something ancient, biological, emotional, something that speaks long before words do, something that feels. Elias had done everything right, on paper. He showed up, he gave, he tried. But he didn't yet understand the silent game he was in. Ava hadn't been evaluating his resume. She had been reading his energy. Not how loud he laughed, but whether his presence made her feel secure. Not how much he shared, but whether his stillness could hold space for her chaos. Not how successful he appeared, but whether his soul radiated gravity. See, women don't want control. They want to feel safe enough to surrender it. That's the secret most miss. Elias mistook kindness for connection. He thought softness was strength. But Ava was testing him. Not maliciously, but instinctively. She needed to know if he could lead. Not her, but himself. Because a woman will never feel safe with a man who is emotionally led by her. In the quiet weeks after she left, Elias didn't spiral. He didn't send long texts or fight for closure. He sat. He listened. Not to her, but to himself. And in the stillness, something surfaced. He realized he had been chasing women to validate a version of himself he wasn't sure about. A version shaped by external success, not inner clarity. So he changed. Not for Ava, for Elias. He stopped reacting, stopped explaining, stopped shrinking to make space. He started leading, his time, his energy, his path. He stopped trying to prove he was worthy, and began believing it. Slowly, he rebuilt. Not just his habits, but his essence. His presence grew grounded. His voice carried weight. His eyes stopped searching and started seeing. Women noticed the shift, not because he chased them, but because he no longer did. His energy spoke for him. He didn't rush into conversations. He allowed silence. He didn't ask for validation. He radiated assurance. It wasn't long before Ava texted again, a simple message. "Hey, how have you been?" He read it slowly. No rush. No fire in his chest. Just calm curiosity. They met for coffee. She looked the same. But Elias didn't. He didn't lean in. He didn't chase. He didn't perform. He observed, and Ava noticed. Her eyes searched his, her smile lingered longer. But Elias wasn't there to be chosen. He was there to choose. They talked, laughed, reminisced. But he didn't fall into the rhythm. He held it. And eventually, she drifted again. But this time, he didn't lose anything. Because he had already found everything. And that was just the beginning. Elias began to understand the silent rules. He learned that women don't choose the man who texts first, gives most, or always agrees. They choose the man who holds his center when hers wavers, who doesn't explain his worth, but radiates it, who can feel her storm and remain the shoreline. It's not about being cold. It's about being calm. It's not about being detached. It's about being sovereign. The feminine doesn't want to lead. It wants to feel held, seen, grounded, but only by a man who is already rooted in who he is. Elias became the kind of man who leads not with noise, but with presence. The kind who doesn't seek approval, but invites respect. And that presence? It doesn't beg. It doesn't chase. It doesn't flinch. It anchors. He noticed how his interactions shifted. Conversations were richer, more deliberate. His silence spoke louder than his old eagerness ever could. People asked for his thoughts more often, waited on his responses longer. Friends started looking to him in tense moments, not because he demanded attention, but because he earned it with calm. And women felt that. They didn't always understand why, but they gravitated toward it, toward him, because he no longer performed. He embodied. So to the man reading this, watching the silence, wondering why she left after you gave your best, maybe it wasn't about what you lacked. Maybe it was about what you hadn't yet claimed. Because once you stop asking, what do women want, and start asking, who am I when no one's watching? That's when everything changes. Not for her, for you. And when you become that man, not to prove something, but because it is simply who you are, something remarkable happens. You stop needing to be chosen, because you've already chosen yourself. And in that, you become unforgettable.